The information provided in this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only and does not constitute professional, legal, or financial advice for your business. Operating an automotive repair facility involves significant liability, and the choice of software affects your record-keeping, customer data privacy, and compliance with state and federal regulations. While we discuss free software options, you must conduct your own due diligence to ensure any tool you implement meets the specific legal and safety requirements of your jurisdiction. We do not represent any of the software companies mentioned, and historical performance or case studies discussed are not indicative of future results for your specific shop. You are losing 5 figures every single year, and you probably do not even realize it. It is not because you are a bad mechanic, and it is not because your labor rates are too low. It is because you are still running your shop like it is 1995. If you are still using paper ROs, or if you are tracking your inventory on a dry erase board in the back office, you are essentially bleeding cash through 1,000 tiny cuts of inefficiency. In the modern American automotive landscape, the difference between a shop that barely breaks even and one that scales to a 3-bay powerhouse often comes down to a single factor: the data. The average small shop owner in the United States spends nearly 15 hours a week on administrative tasks that do not involve a wrench. That is 15 hours of billable time gone. In a high-volume market, that inefficiency can represent a loss of over $50,000 in potential annual revenue. Most shop owners think they have to pay $300 a month for a premium management system just to get organized. They look at the big names in the industry, see those massive monthly subscription fees, and decide to stick with their spreadsheets. That is a catastrophic mistake. Today, the landscape has shifted. We are entering an era where high-quality, professional-grade shop management tools are available for $0 down. This is not about some stripped-down trial version that locks you out after 10 invoices. We are talking about robust systems that can handle your digital vehicle inspections, your parts ordering, and your customer relationship management without a monthly bill hitting your mailbox. This masterclass is designed for the independent shop owner in the US who is tired of the chaos. Whether you are a mobile mechanic working out of a van, a specialized Euro shop, or a high-volume general repair facility, the next 60 minutes will provide you with a blueprint to digitize your entire operation for free. We are going to deconstruct the 3 best free software options available in 2026, comparing their features, their scalability, and their ease of use. This is the solution to the problem of the administrative ceiling. That point where you cannot take on more work because you are buried in paperwork. By the end of this deep dive, you will have the exact tools needed to automate your workflow, professionalize your customer interactions, and ultimately, reclaim those 15 hours a week to focus on what actually makes you money: fixing cars. To understand why this is so critical, look at historical trends in the US aftermarket. 10 years ago, a customer was happy with a phone call and a handwritten estimate. Today, if you are not texting a customer a link to a digital vehicle inspection with high-resolution photos of their leaking water pump, you are losing their trust. Transparency is the new currency of the repair industry. The shops that have adopted these digital-first strategies have seen an average increase in their average repair order by 20 to 30%. Why? Because seeing is believing. When a customer can see the frayed serpentine belt on their own smartphone screen, the upsell is no longer a sales pitch. It is a professional recommendation backed by visual evidence. We are going to show you how to implement that exact level of professionalism without spending a dime on software. The first major hurdle many small shops face is the fear of data migration and the learning curve. We see it in case studies across the country. A shop buys a complex system, the technicians hate it because it is too slow, and within a month they are back to writing on the back of napkins. That is why our analysis today focuses on user interface and time to wrench. We are looking for software that gets out of the way and lets your techs do their jobs while the system handles the heavy lifting of tracking labor times and parts margins. We will look at how these free platforms integrate with parts suppliers like Advance Auto, AutoZone, and Napa, allowing you to pull live pricing and availability directly into your estimates. Consider the case of a 2-bay shop in Ohio that transitioned from a manual system to one of the free digital platforms we will be discussing. Before the switch, their estimate approval time was averaging 4 hours. After implementing a digital RO system, that time dropped to 45 minutes. The customer receives a text, clicks approve, and the parts are ordered before the car is even off the lift. That is the level of efficiency that separates the survivors from the leaders in this industry. If you are ready to stop being an administrator and start being a shop owner again, This is the most important hour of your business year. We are not just looking at features. We are looking at the foundational logic of how a modern American repair shop should function in an era of increasing complexity and rising overhead. We will also address the catch. Many of you are wondering why any company would offer this for free. We will break down the business models behind these freemium and truly free tools. Some are subsidized by parts ordering integrations, others by payment processing fees, and some are open source projects designed by the community. Knowing which one fits your specific business model is the key to long-term success. You do not want to build your entire business on a platform that will disappear or suddenly charge you $1,000 next year. We have vetted these options for stability and longevity within the US market. Step 1 of this masterclass involves a hard look at your current workflow. If you cannot measure it, you cannot manage it. Do you know your effective labor rate? Do you know your parts margin on every single ticket? Do you know your technician productivity versus efficiency? If the answer is no, you are flying blind. The software we are covering today will give you these metrics in real time. This is about more than just printing a clean invoice. It is about having a dashboard for your business that tells you exactly where you are profitable and where you are losing money. Over the next several sections, we will go through a step-by-step setup for each of these 3 platforms. We will show you how to configure your labor rates, how to build a canned service library so you can write common estimates in seconds, and how to set up automated follow-up reminders that bring customers back into your bays every 6 months. This is about building a repeatable system that works even when you are not standing in the shop. We are moving away from the hustle and moving toward a professionalized, scalable enterprise. Let's get to work. The first step in transforming your shop from a chaotic grease pit into a high-precision business machine is understanding the massive gap between where you are and where the top 5% of shops in the United States currently operate in 2026. Imagine a shop owner named Mike in Columbus, Ohio. Mike has been running a 3-bay independent shop for 12 years. He is a master technician, but his back office is a disaster. He spends 3 hours every night after the techs go home just trying to figure out which parts he actually ordered from his local Worldpac or Advance Auto branch versus what actually made it onto the customer invoices. Mike is experiencing what industry consultants call the invisible leak. Because he lacks a digital tracking system, he misses approximately 15% of his parts markups every single month. At a volume of $40,000 in monthly parts sales, Mike is effectively handing $6,000 back to the universe because of a lack of organization. This is not a hypothetical scenario. Historical trends in the automotive aftermarket show that shops without integrated parts-to-invoice tracking suffer from significant margin erosion. When we talk about the first of our top 3 free software options, we are looking at platforms that solve this exact problem by creating a digital bridge between your bay and your parts supplier. The first platform on our deep dive list is an industry disruptor that has gained massive traction in early 2026 by offering a comprehensive base layer for free, specifically targeting the small, independent operator who is just starting to scale. The core philosophy of this tool is the digital repair order, or RO. In the old world, an RO was a piece of paper that got oily, lost, or misread. In this digital ecosystem, the RO is a living document that tracks every second of labor and every cent of parts cost from the moment the vehicle is checked in. Let's walk through the step-by-step implementation of this first software in a real-world scenario. Imagine a customer named Sarah pulls into your shop with a 2019 Ford F-150 that has a rhythmic ticking sound coming from the engine. In a traditional shop, you write her name on a notepad. In this free software, you immediately scan the VIN using your smartphone camera. The software instantly decodes the VIN and pulls the full service history and factory maintenance schedules for that specific truck. You have not even opened the hood yet, and you already look like a tech-forward professional. You create the digital RO and assign it to your lead technician, Alex. Alex receives a notification on his tablet. He performs the inspection and discovers that the exhaust manifold bolts have snapped, a common issue for this model year. Now, here is where the power of free digital vehicle inspections, or DVIs, comes into play. Instead of Alex walking to the front desk to tell you what he found, he takes 3 photos and a 10-second video of the leaking manifold. He attaches these directly to the RO within the app. You, as the shop owner, then hit one button to generate a digital estimate. The software automatically pulls the labor times from an integrated database. You do not have to guess if it is a 4-hour or a 6-hour job. The data is right there. You then look at your parts availability. Because this software is integrated with major US parts distributors, you see the manifold is in stock at the local hub and will arrive by 2 p.m. You send this entire package, the photos, the video, the labor breakdown, and the parts cost, to Sarah's phone via a secure text link. The psychology of this interaction is a game changer for conversion rates. Case studies from small shops across Texas and Florida have shown that when a customer receives a digital inspection with visual evidence, their likelihood of approving the work increases by nearly 40%. Sarah is at work. She sees the broken bolts on her phone, and she clicks the green Approve button. The software immediately notifies you that the job is a go, and it automatically places the order for the manifold with your supplier. No phone calls, no waiting on hold, no miscommunication about part numbers. This is the level of automation that was previously reserved for shops paying $500 a month for high-end systems. By utilizing this free tool, you have just eliminated 3 human error points and saved 45 minutes of administrative time. But the depth of this software goes even further into the realm of inventory management and labor tracking. One of the biggest complaints small shop owners have is that they do not know if their technicians are actually being productive or just looking busy. This free platform includes a technician clock-in feature for every specific job. When Alex starts on Sarah's F-150, he taps a button on his tablet. When he finishes, he taps it again. At the end of the week, the software generates a productivity report. You can see that Alex was clocked into billable jobs for 35 out of 40 hours. This gives you a 90% efficiency rating. If another tech is only at 60%, you now have the data to sit down and find out why. Is he struggling with certain types of repairs? Is his bay layout inefficient? Historical data shows that shops that begin tracking technician efficiency often see a 10 to 15% increase in overall shop throughput within the first 90 days, simply because the team knows the numbers are being watched. Furthermore, we need to talk about the financial reporting aspect of this first software. Most small shops wait until tax season to find out if they actually made money. This is a recipe for disaster in 2026, where parts costs and overhead are more volatile than ever. This free tool provides a real-time gross profit tracker on every single invoice. As you build the estimate for the exhaust manifold, the software shows you exactly what your margin is. If your goal is a 60% gross profit on labor and a 40% markup on parts, the software flags the invoice in red if you drop below those targets. This prevents the nice guy syndrome where you accidentally give away too much of your profit just to be helpful. It forces you to run your shop based on the math, not on a feeling. Think about the implications for your year-end planning. Instead of handing a box of receipts to an accountant, you export a clean CSV file that integrates directly with QuickBooks or other accounting software. This alone can save a small shop owner over $2,000 in professional accounting fees per year. We are looking at a cumulative potential outcome where the software pays for itself 100 times over, even though it cost you nothing to acquire. It is about building a wall of data around your business that protects your time and your bank account. The transition to this system does not happen overnight, and it requires a shift in the shop culture. Technicians who are used to the old ways might resist the tablets at first. However, when they realize that the software makes their lives easier, no more searching for paper arrows or trying to read the service writer's handwriting, they quickly become the biggest advocates for the system. In the next phase of this deep dive, we are going to look at the specific name of this first platform and exactly how to navigate its free tier limitations to ensure you never have to upgrade to a paid version unless you absolutely want to. But more importantly, we are going to look at the second software on our list, which takes a completely different approach by focusing on something most shops completely ignore: long-term customer retention and automated marketing. Imagine if your shop could automatically send a text to every customer who had a brake job 6 months ago, asking them to come in for a free safety check. Imagine if that happened while you were sleeping, and your Monday morning was suddenly filled with 3 new appointments. The second software we are about to reveal does exactly that, and it does it for a price tag of $0. But before we get there, we have to look at the one critical mistake shop owners make when setting up their labor rates in a digital system, a mistake that can actually lead to a decrease in revenue if you are not careful. We are going to break down the exact math you need to input to ensure your digital transition is a move toward massive profitability. If you think the first software sounds powerful, the logic behind our second pick will completely change how you view the lifetime value of your customers. The secret to scaling is not just finding new cars to fix. It is ensuring the cars you already fixed never go anywhere else. The first platform on our list that is redefining the landscape for independent shops in 2026 is Oli. If you have not heard of Oli, it is because they have spent very little on traditional advertising, choosing instead to build a product that spreads through the word of mouth of mechanics who are tired of being nickel and dimed by legacy software companies. The potential outcome of implementing Oli is a streamlined, paperless environment that functions with the precision of a dealership at a total cost of $0 for the base management tier. To get started, you do not need a credit card. You just need a laptop or a tablet and about 30 minutes to configure your shop settings. The initial setup is where most shop owners stumble, and this is where we dive into the technical details. When you first log into Oli, your first task is to establish your labor rate. Imagine a shop owner in Georgia named Jackson. Jackson has been charging a flat $100 an hour for years because it is an easy number to calculate in his head. However, his overhead has increased by 12% over the last 24 months due to rising utility costs and insurance premiums. When Jackson enters his data into Oli, the software allows him to set up tiered labor rates. He can set a standard rate of $120 for general repair and a diagnostic rate of $150 for complex electrical or ADAS work. By differentiating these rates in the software, Jackson is finally being compensated for the high-level expertise required for modern vehicle communication networks. Step 2 in the Oli configuration is the parts markup matrix. This is a critical step that many small shops ignore, leading to significant revenue loss. Instead of applying a flat 30% markup to everything from a $2 oil filter to a $2,000 transmission, Oli allows you to build a sliding scale matrix. Historical trends in the U.S. aftermarket suggest that a healthy shop should aim for a higher percentage on low-cost items and a lower percentage on high-ticket items to remain competitive while protecting the bottom line. You can program Oli to automatically apply a 300% markup on items under $5 and a 25% markup on items over $1,000. Once this matrix is set, every time you pull a part from your local Napa or AutoZone integration, the software calculates the retail price instantly. You are no longer guessing, and you are no longer leaving money on the table because you felt awkward doing the math in front of a customer. Now let's address the critical mistake I mentioned earlier: failing to account for shop supplies and environmental fees. In a manual system, these are often forgotten. In Oli, you can set a global rule that adds a 5 or 7% shop supply fee to every invoice, capped at a specific dollar amount, such as $35. This covers your brake cleaner, your rags, your lubricants, and your disposal costs. For a shop doing 20 tickets a week, a $30 average shop supply fee represents an additional $2,400 in monthly revenue that previously was just an unrecovered expense. This is the difference between surviving and thriving in the 2026 economy. The most powerful feature within Oli for the small shop is the Digital Vehicle Inspection, or DVI. Imagine Jackson's lead tech, Marcus, is working on a 2021 Chevrolet Silverado. Marcus uses the Oli mobile app on a basic Android tablet. He goes through a customized inspection checklist that Jackson built in the software. As Marcus finds a cracked serpentine belt and a leaking water pump, he takes clear, high-definition photos. The software timestamps these photos and attaches them to the specific line items on the estimate. When Jackson sends this to the customer isn't just seeing a bill. They are seeing a digital report card of their vehicle's health. Case studies have shown that customers are 60% more likely to approve preventative maintenance when they are presented with visual evidence of the wear or failure. This shifts the dynamic from a high-pressure sales environment to a collaborative maintenance strategy. Furthermore, Oli provides an integrated customer database that tracks every single interaction. If a customer named Sarah comes in for an oil change but declines the recommended brake service, the software flags that declined service. The next time Sarah calls to book an appointment, the system immediately pops up a notification reminding the service writer that she needs brakes. This ensures that no opportunity for revenue is ever truly lost. It is simply deferred. This level of data persistence is what allows a small shop to compete with the big box chains that have millions of dollars in IT infrastructure. You are leveraging the same logic, but you are doing it for free. Wait until you see how this platform handles the checkout process. In 2026, customers expect frictionless payments. Oli integrates with several mobile payment processors, allowing you to send a text-to-pay link. The customer can pay their bill from their office or their couch before they even arrive to pick up their keys. This reduces the bottleneck at the front desk at 5 p.m. when everyone is trying to pick up their cars at once. It also provides a digital audit trail that is far more secure than a drawer full of paper receipts. For a small shop, this professionalization of the payment process is a massive trust builder. But Oli is just the beginning. While it excels at the day-to-day management of your repair orders and parts, there is a second software on our list that focuses on the one thing most shop owners are terrible at: staying in touch with their customers. We have all seen this cycle. You get busy, you stop marketing, then you get slow and you scramble to find work. It is the feast or famine cycle of the independent shop. Imagine if you had a system that acted like a full-time marketing manager, analyzing your database and sending out personalized service reminders, holiday specials, and thank you notes without you ever touching a keyboard. The second software we are going to dive into is a specialized customer relationship management tool that has a dedicated free tier for shops with fewer than 500 active customers. This tool is designed to solve the problem of the leaky bucket. Most shops lose 20% of their customer base every year simply because the customer forgot about them or went to a competitor who sent them a coupon. We are going to look at how to integrate this CRM with your management software to create an automated retention machine. Case studies from shops in the Pacific Northwest have shown that implementing an automated follow-up system can increase repeat business by over 25% within the first year. We will walk through the exact templates you should use for these messages to ensure they feel personal and professional, rather than like spam. But there is a hidden danger in automation. If you set it up incorrectly, you can end up sending an oil change reminder to a customer who just had their oil changed last week. We are going to show you the exact settings to avoid that embarrassing mistake. Before we move on to that, we need to talk about the third pillar of a successful digital shop: parts procurement. There is a specific free tool that allows you to compare prices across 5 different suppliers simultaneously, ensuring you never overpay for a radiator or a set of struts again. If you are not using this tool, you are essentially letting your suppliers dictate your profit margins. We are going to reveal that secret weapon and show you how it integrates with the rest of your new digital ecosystem. The next 10 minutes will change the way you buy parts forever. The transition from a manual shop to a digital powerhouse requires a shift in how you view your most valuable asset: your customer list. Most shop owners think their most valuable asset is their lift or their scan tool, but it is actually the data sitting in your filing cabinet. This brings us to the second software in our masterclass, which is a specialized implementation of HubSpot CRM. While HubSpot is a massive global platform, its free tier is a hidden gem for the American small business owner in 2026. This is the solution to the leaky bucket problem. Imagine a shop owner in Denver named David. David has a loyal customer base, but he only sees them when something breaks. He is reactive, not proactive. Historical trends show that the cost of acquiring a new customer is 5 times higher than the cost of retaining an existing one. By using a free CRM like HubSpot, David can turn his reactive shop into a proactive service center. The setup for this is a step-by-step process that begins with exporting your customer list from your management software, like Oli, and importing it into HubSpot. Once the data is in, you categorize your customers based on their vehicle type and last service date. Imagine if David has 50 customers with high-mileage trucks. In HubSpot, he can create a specific list for these vehicles. Then, using the free email marketing tools within the platform, David can send a targeted, educational update about the importance of transmission fluid exchanges for vehicles over 100,000 miles. He isn't selling, he is educating. This approach builds authority. Case studies of small businesses using this specific strategy have seen a 14% increase in service bookings during traditionally slow months like February and September. But the real magic happens with automation. Imagine if every time a customer leaves David's shop, they automatically receive a thank you email 24 hours later with a link to leave a Google review. In the 2026 digital economy, your Google rating is your storefront. A shop with 400 5-star reviews will always out-earn a shop with 40, even if the second shop has better mechanics. HubSpot's free tier allows you to set up these basic communication flows. You are essentially hiring a marketing assistant who works for free 24 hours a day. This ensures that your shop stays top of mind. When that customer's check engine light eventually comes on, they aren't going to Google mechanic near me. They are going to call David because David has been in their inbox once a month with helpful maintenance tips. However, even the best marketing cannot save a shop that is losing money on every parts order. This leads us directly into our third software, the absolute secret weapon for parts procurement in the United States: Parts Tech. If you are still calling your local parts house and waiting on hold for 5 minutes just to find out they don't have a water pump in stock, you are operating at a massive competitive disadvantage. Parts Tech is a free total parts procurement platform that aggregates all of your suppliers into a single lightning-fast interface. Let's look at the step-by-step workflow of how David from Denver uses Parts Tech to maximize his margins. David opens the Parts Tech dashboard on his shop computer. He enters the VIN for a 2020 Jeep Grand Cherokee that needs front brakes and rotors. Within 3 seconds, Parts Tech pulls live inventory and wholesale pricing from David's accounts at Napa, Advance Auto Parts, AutoZone, and his local independent warehouse. On one single screen, David can see that Napa has the premium rotors in stock for $60, but Advance has a similar grade for $48 at a hub only 10 minutes away. Imagine the cumulative impact of this visibility. If David saves $12 on every brake job and he does 10 brake jobs a week, that is over $6,000 in additional pure profit every year just by having the data to choose the right supplier. But it is not just about the price, it is about the time. Historical data from shops implementing Parts Tech shows an average saving of 15 minutes of administrative time per repair order. In a busy shop doing 30 ROs a week, that is 7.5 hours of saved time. That is nearly a full workday reclaimed every single week. The integration of Parts Tech with your management software, like Oli, is where the system becomes truly seamless. When David selects the parts in Parts Tech, he doesn't have to manually type the part numbers and prices into his estimate. He clicks Transfer to RO, and the data populates instantly. This eliminates the fat finger errors where a service writer types $149 instead of $194, or worse, orders the wrong part because they misread a handwritten note. Case studies have shown that parts ordering errors account for nearly 5% of lost labor time in small shops because the car is stuck on the lift waiting for the correct part to arrive. Parts Tech virtually eliminates this bottleneck. Furthermore, Parts Tech in 2026 now includes a robust tire procurement module. For many small shops, tires are a low-margin headache that they only handle as a favor to customers. With the free tire tool in Parts Tech, you can compare brands, load ratings, and speed ratings across multiple tire distributors like ATD or NTW. You can show the customer a good, better, best comparison right on your screen. This transparency allows you to sell more tires at better margins because you are providing the customer with choices backed by data, rather than just one take-it-or-leave-it price. Now, think about the synergy of these three tools working together. Oli manages your shop floor and creates professional DVIs. HubSpot keeps your bays full by staying in touch with your customers. Parts Tech ensures that every part you buy is at the best price and arrives as fast as possible. You have just built a high-tech, integrated business infrastructure for a total software cost of $0. This is how the small, independent shop survives and wins against the corporate giants. You are using their own weapons, data, automation, and scale against them. But there is a catch that we haven't discussed yet. Even with the best software, your shop can still fail if you do not understand your true labor cost. Many shop owners set their labor rate based on what the guy down the street is charging, which is a path to eventual bankruptcy. In the next part of this masterclass, we are going to dive into the math of the effective labor rate versus your posted rate. We are going to show you how to use your new software to uncover the hidden costs of your technicians' unbilled time. Imagine if you discovered that for every hour you bill, you are actually paying for 90 minutes of overhead. We are going to break down the exact formula to ensure your shop is actually profitable after every expense is paid. We will also reveal a fourth, bonus tool that is specifically for mobile mechanics and solo operators who don't need a full shop management system, but need a way to accept credit cards with the lowest possible fees in the US market. The difference between a 3% and a 2% processing fee can be the difference between a new scan tool and a late rent payment. We are moving from the what to the how. The logic of your pricing is about to get a major upgrade. To understand how your shop actually makes money, you have to stop looking at your posted labor rate as a measure of success. In the industry, we call this the great labor rate lie. Imagine a shop owner in Phoenix named James. James has a big sign in his front window that says his labor rate is $150 per hour. He sees a car come in for a 4-hour brake job and assumes he just made $600 in labor revenue. But when James runs the reports in Oli at the end of the month, he discovers a painful reality. His effective labor rate is actually only $85 per hour. Where did the other $65 go? It vanished into the cracks of unbilled time, technician inefficiency, and administrative bloat. This is the first math lesson of our masterclass, the difference between what you say you charge and what you actually collect. Historical trends in the United States automotive sector show that the average independent shop operates at a 60 to 70% productivity level. This means for every 8 hours you pay a technician, they are only producing 5 to 5.5 hours of billable work. The rest of that time is spent moving cars in and out of bays, searching for tools, waiting for parts to arrive from the warehouse, or simply standing at the service desk asking for the next job. If you are paying your lead tech $35 an hour and they only bill 5 hours in an 8-hour day, your true labor cost is not $35, it is $56. When you factor in your rent, utilities, insurance, and the free software we have been discussing, your overhead might be another $40 per hour. If your effective labor rate is $85 and your total cost per hour is $96, you are literally paying for the privilege of fixing that customer's car. This is why the data integration between OLI and parts tech is so vital. Let's look at a step-by-step audit you can perform tomorrow morning to find your true numbers. First, you need to use the technician clock-in feature we discussed. James in Phoenix started requiring his techs to clock into every specific job on their tablets. Within 2 weeks, he saw the data. His lead tech, Carlos, was extremely fast at suspension work, but was losing 2 hours a day on diagnostics because the shop scan tool was outdated and kept losing connection. James didn't have to guess. The software showed him that every diagnostic job was actually costing the shop money. The formula for your effective labor rate is simple but brutal. Take your total labor revenue for the week and divide it by the total hours your technicians were on the clock. If you collected $10,000 in labor and you paid for 160 hours of tech time, your ELR is $62.50. If your posted rate is $150, you are operating at a 41% efficiency. In 2026, a high-performance shop in a competitive market like Charlotte or Dallas should be aiming for an ELR that is at least 85% of their posted rate. If you are not there, your shop is leaking cash that no amount of new customers can fix. To plug these leaks, you have to use your software to automate the non-billable tasks. Imagine if Carlos never had to leave his bay to check on a part. With Parts Tech integrated into the workflow, Carlos can see on his tablet that the brake pads are 5 minutes away. He can finish the current task, prep the rotors, and be ready to install the moment the delivery driver walks in. This eliminates the waiting room time for technicians. Case studies have shown that just by keeping a technician in their bay for an extra 45 minutes a day, a shop can increase its annual revenue by over $20,000 per technician. That is the power of using free software to manage the seconds, because the seconds turn into hours, and the hours turn into your retirement fund. Now let's talk about the bonus tool I teased earlier. For the mobile mechanics and the solo operators out there, a full-scale shop management system might feel like overkill. You are working out of a truck, you are handling your own parts, and you are your own service writer. Your biggest headache isn't technician efficiency. It is getting paid on site without losing a massive chunk of your profit to processing fees. This is where a tool called Helsum comes into play. While most people default to Square or Clover, Helsum offers a no monthly fee model with interchange plus pricing that is specifically designed for high-ticket service industries like auto repair. In 2026, the average repair order in the US has climbed to nearly $500. If you are using a standard processor that charges 3%, you are losing $15 on every single job. If you do 5 jobs a day, that is $75 a day, or nearly $18,000 a year in processing fees. Helsum's logic is different. Because they use interchange plus pricing, they pass the raw cost of the credit card through to you and add a small transparent margin. For a high-ticket business, this can lower your effective rate to around 2%, or even lower for debit transactions. That 1% difference is not just a few pennies. It is the cost of your shop's liability insurance or the lease on a new van. The step-by-step setup for a mobile mechanic using Helsum is incredibly efficient. You download the app to your phone and link it to your business bank account. When you finish a job at a customer's house, you don't even need a card reader. You can use Tap to Pay on your iPhone or Android device. The customer taps their card or phone against yours, the payment is processed, and a professional digital receipt is emailed to them instantly. This integrates perfectly with the HubSpot CRM we discussed earlier. You can set up a Zap through Zapier, which also has a free tier, so that every time a payment is processed in Helsum, that customer's information is automatically updated in HubSpot. Imagine you are a mobile mechanic named Sarah in Nashville. You just finished a starter replacement on a 2018 Honda Accord. You take the payment on your phone using Helsum. Automatically, HubSpot sees the transaction and schedules a check-in email for 3 days from now to make sure the car is starting perfectly. It also schedules a reminder for 6 months from now for an oil change. Sarah didn't have to do any of this manually. She just fixed the car and got paid. The software is doing the work of a service writer, a marketing manager, and an accountant while she drives to her next appointment. This is what we mean by a deep dive masterclass. We are moving beyond just using software and into building a digital ecosystem. You are no longer just a person with a wrench. You are the CEO of a data-driven service business. The most successful shops in 2026 are the ones that realize their competition isn't the shop down the street. It is the customer's own inertia and the rising cost of living. By using these free tools to lower your overhead and increase your transparency, you become the obvious choice for a consumer who is increasingly skeptical of traditional repair shops. But there is one more piece to this puzzle that we haven't touched on yet, and it is the most technical part of the entire operation. It is how you handle the digital paper trail for liability. In the United States, a shop can be sued for a repair that was performed perfectly if the documentation doesn't meet specific legal standards. We are going to look at how to use the notes and terms sections of these free platforms to build a bulletproof legal shield around your shop. If a customer claims you damaged their interior or that you didn't explain a specific risk, you need more than just your word. You need the time-stamped, photographic evidence that these free tools provide. In the next part, we are going to dive into the legal and safety module of shop management. We will show you exactly what needs to be on every digital RO to protect your assets and your reputation. If you think you are protected because you have good insurance, you are in for a massive wake-up call. The data is your best defense, and we are going to show you how to weaponize it. In the high-stakes world of automotive repair in 2026, a handshake and a verbal estimate are no longer just old-fashioned. They are a massive liability. To understand why your digital documentation is your most powerful weapon, you have to look at how the legal landscape for small businesses has shifted across the United States. It is a historical trend that as vehicle technology becomes more complex and repair costs rise, the frequency of consumer litigation and insurance disputes increases. This is where your free software transition moves from a matter of efficiency to a matter of survival. Imagine a shop owner in Miami named Carlos. Carlos runs a busy two-bay shop specializing in late-model imports. A customer brought in a 2024 electric SUV for a routine tire rotation. 2 days later, the customer called, screaming that Carlos's technician had scratched a rim and dented a rocker panel. Without digital proof, Carlos would be facing a $1,200 repair bill out of his own pocket or a hit to his insurance premium. However, because Carlos implemented the digital check-in process we have been discussing, he had a time-stamped, high-resolution 360-degree walk-around of the vehicle saved in the cloud. He pulled up the OLI dashboard, found the specific repair order, and zoomed in on the photos taken at 9:14 a.m. on the day of arrival. The scratch and the dent were already there, clear as day. Carlos sent those photos to the customer with a professional note. The claim was dropped instantly. Case studies of shops that implement a mandatory digital walkaround show a 90% reduction in payout for pre-existing damage claims. This is not just about being right, it is about having the data to prove it in seconds. The step-by-step implementation of this legal shield begins in the settings menu of your shop management software. Most free platforms, including the ones on our top 3 list, provide a section for terms and conditions and disclaimers. This is where you must be precise. You should consult with a local legal professional to draft language that fits your specific state's laws. But generally, you want to include clauses regarding your shop's lien rights, your policy on vehicles left after a certain number of days, and a clear statement that you are not responsible for personal items left inside the car. In the OLI settings, you can navigate to the Invoice Customization tab and paste this text into the footer or disclaimer field. This ensures that every single estimate and invoice you send, whether via text, email, or paper, carries that legal protection. Next, we need to address the digital signature. In 2026, the United States has largely moved toward accepting electronic signatures as legally binding, but the way you collect them matters. If you just tell a customer the price over the phone and they say go ahead, you have very little protection if they later dispute the bill. The professional way to handle this is through the estimate approval feature. When you send that digital estimate from your software, the customer receives a link. To move forward, they must click a box that says, I authorize the repairs listed above, and provide a digital signature or a confirmation click. This creates a digital audit trail with an IP address and a timestamp. Historical data from merchant processors shows that when a shop can provide a digitally signed authorization, they win over 80% of credit card chargeback disputes. If you are a shop owner who has ever lost a $2,000 repair payment, because a customer claimed they didn't authorize the work, you know exactly how valuable this single feature is. But the most critical part of your legal defense is how you handle declined services. This is where the real danger lies for an independent shop. Imagine a shop owner in Portland named Elena. A customer comes in for an oil change on an older minivan. Elena's technician, during the free digital vehicle inspection, notices that the front brake pads are down to the metal, and the passenger side ball joint is dangerously loose. The customer, focused on their budget, says they just want the oil change and they will deal with the brakes next month. Elena records this in her software. She takes a photo of the metal-to-metal pads and the play in the ball joint. She marks these items as urgent in the DVI and sends it to the customer. The customer clicks decline on those specific items. 3 weeks later, that minivan is involved in a collision because the brakes failed or the ball joint snapped. The first thing a personal injury lawyer is going to do is look for someone with a deep pocket to sue. And the last person to touch that car was Elena. If Elena had a paper system, that declined note might be on a lost scrap of paper or a smudge on a carbon copy. But because she used her free management software, she has a permanent, cloud-backed record that the customer was informed of the life safety issue, shown visual evidence of it, and actively chose to decline the repair against professional advice. In the legal world, this is called informed consent and assumption of risk. Having this documentation can be the difference between a dismissed claim and a business-ending lawsuit. Furthermore, we must discuss data retention. In many U.S. states, you are required by law to keep repair records for a specific number of years, often 3 to 7 years depending on the jurisdiction. Paper files are subject to fire, flood, and simple misplacement. Digital systems provide a level of redundancy that is virtually impossible to achieve with physical filing cabinets. When you use a cloud-based tool like Oli or the HubSpot integration, your data is backed up across multiple servers. Even if your shop's computer is stolen or your building is damaged, your entire business history is safe. This is a critical component of your disaster recovery plan, something most small shops don't think about until it is too late. To truly weaponize your data, you should also look at the technical notes section of your repair orders. In 2026, the Right to Repair movement has highlighted the importance of documenting exactly which procedures were followed, especially regarding ADAS calibrations and safety-critical systems. If your technician performs a blind spot monitor calibration, the software should include the specific scan tool used, the software version, and the successful calibration report. Many of the free tools allow you to attach PDF files directly to the RO. By attaching the printout from your scan tool to the digital invoice, you are providing a level of transparency that builds immense trust with the modern, tech-savvy consumer. Imagine if every time a customer picked up their car, they felt like they were getting a comprehensive medical report for their vehicle. That is the potential outcome of a fully utilized digital management system. You aren't just a mechanic, you are a data provider. You are showing the customer that your shop operates with a level of integrity and precision that justifies your labor rate, even if that rate is higher than the budget shop down the street. We have talked about the management, the marketing, the parts, and the legal protection. But there is one final piece of the puzzle that separates the shops that grow from the shops that plateau. It is the tech-to-service writer communication loop. In many small shops, there is a constant friction between the person under the hood and the person at the front counter. This friction causes delays, missed parts, and frustrated customers. In the next section of this masterclass, we are going to dive into the internal communication features of these free platforms. We are going to show you how to use internal chat, job status updates, and technician notes to ensure that the person selling the job knows exactly what the person doing the job is experiencing. We will also reveal a tool that helps you manage your shop's digital reputation by automating the process of responding to Google reviews, both the good ones and the bad ones, using AI-assisted templates that keep you professional even when a customer is being unreasonable. The way you communicate internally will define your external success. If you have ever felt like your left hand doesn't know what your right hand is doing in your shop, what comes next is specifically for you. The disconnect between the front office and the service bay is the single largest source of lost time in the American automotive repair industry. Imagine a shop owner in Indianapolis named Robert. Robert has 3 talented technicians, but his shop feels like a game of telephone gone wrong. A technician named Tyler finds a leaking water pump on a 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Tyler tells the service writer, who then gets distracted by a phone call. 20 minutes later, the service writer calls the customer, but forgets to mention the serpentine belt that Tyler also found. The customer approves the pump but not the belt. Tyler finishes the pump, puts the car back together, and only then does the service writer realize the belt was missed. Now the car has to go back on the lift, the coolant has to be drained again, and the shop has just lost 2 hours of billable labor. Historical trends show that these communication breakdowns cost the average small shop between $3,000 and $5,000 in monthly gross profit. This is where the internal communication architecture of our top free software picks, like Oli, changes the game for 2026. The step-by-step solution to Robert's problem is the real-time job status board. In a digital shop, every technician has a tablet at their station. When Tyler finds that water pump and belt, he doesn't walk to the front desk. He enters the findings directly into the digital inspection. He uses the internal note feature to leave a message specifically for the service writer. Water pump is weeping from the weep hole, but the belt is also cracked and should be done while we have it apart to save the customer labor later. As soon as Tyler hits save, the service writer's dashboard flashes. There is no verbal handoff required. The service writer sees the notes, sees the photos Tyler took, and sees the estimated labor time. When the service writer calls the customer, they have all the data right in front of them. This is what we call the closed-loop system. It ensures that every discovery made under the hood is translated into a line item on an estimate. Case studies of shops transitioning to this digital internal communication model show an immediate 15% increase in average repair order value. Why? Because nothing is falling through the cracks anymore. But the depth of this system goes further into technician morale. One of the biggest frustrations for a high-performing tech is feeling like the front office is slow to get authorizations. Imagine if Tyler is sitting around for 45 minutes waiting for the service writer to sell a job. That is 45 minutes he isn't making money, and 45 minutes the shop is losing overhead. In the free version of Oli, you can track the time between an inspection being submitted and an estimate being approved. Robert in Indianapolis used this data to realize his service writer was overwhelmed between 10 a.m. and noon. By shifting some administrative tasks to the afternoon, Robert reduced his authorization wait time by 50%. The potential outcome was a more productive shop floor and technicians who felt their time was being respected. Now let's look at the external side of this communication: your digital reputation. In 2026, the way you respond to a Google review is just as important as the repair itself. Most shop owners either ignore reviews or respond emotionally when they get a 1-star rating. This is a massive mistake. Your responses are read by every potential customer who finds you online. To manage this without spending hours at a desk, we look at the integration of AI-assisted response templates within your CRM or management tool. Imagine a scenario where a customer named Linda leaves a 3-star review because she thought the repair took too long. Instead of Robert getting defensive, he uses a professional template. The response acknowledges Linda's time, explains the complexity of the diagnostic process required for her vehicle's specific module failure, and invites her back for a free fluid top-off. This turns a negative into a positive. Historical data shows that businesses that respond to at least 25% of their reviews see an average of 35% more revenue than those that don't. By using the automated notification features in a tool like HubSpot, you never miss a review. You get an alert on your phone, you spend 30 seconds responding with a pre-built professional template, and you move on with your day. Furthermore, we need to discuss the technical documentation required for the 2026 vehicle fleet. We are seeing a historical trend where manufacturers are making it harder for independent shops to access repair data. While the software we've discussed handles the business side, you need a way to organize your technical notes for future reference. Many free shop management tools allow you to create a technical knowledge base within your own shop. If Tyler spends 4 hours solving a phantom electrical draw on a Tesla Model 3, he can document his process, the pinouts he tested, and the final solution within the internal notes of that vehicle's history. 6 months later, when a different Tesla comes in with the same symptom, any tech in the shop can pull up that previous RO and see exactly how it was fixed. You are essentially building your own private YouTube or Wikipedia of repairs. This reduces diagnostic time on repeat issues and ensures that the collective knowledge of your best tech stays with the shop, even if a technician leaves. This is how you build a resilient business that doesn't rely on the heroics of one individual, but rather on a systematic approach to data. We must also touch on the job status transparency for the customer. In a world of Amazon and Uber, customers in the United States expect to know exactly where their product is at all times. The best free shop software allows you to send automated status updates. Imagine if Linda gets a text that says, "Your vehicle has just moved into the diagnostic phase." Then an hour later, "Parts have been ordered, estimated completion is 4 p.m." This level of proactive communication reduces inbound phone calls by as much as 60%. Every time a customer calls to ask, "Is my car ready?" your staff is pulled away from a billable task. By pushing information to the customer automatically, you are reclaiming hours of your service writer's time. But what happens when the work is done and the vehicle is ready for pickup? The communication doesn't end there. The most successful shops in the US are using their free software to conduct exit interviews via automated text. A simple message asking, "How was your experience today?" 1 to 5 inch can give you an early warning system. If a customer replies with a 2, you can call them immediately to resolve the issue before they ever think about posting a negative review on Yelp or Google. This is the service recovery phase that separates the masters from the amateurs. The internal logic of your shop is a reflection of the tools you use. If your tools are fragmented, your communication will be fragmented. If your tools are integrated, your shop will run like a synchronized orchestra. We have covered the management, the parts, the legal, the marketing, and now the communication. But there is one looming shadow over the independent shop in 2026: the cost of data security and customer privacy. With the rise of state-level privacy laws like CCPA and its successors, how you store your customers' phone numbers and credit card data is a major legal concern. In the next part, we are going to dive into the security and privacy layer of your free software stack. We will show you how to ensure you are compliant with US privacy standards without hiring a cybersecurity firm. We will also reveal the one setting in your browser and your software that could be leaking your shop's financial data to competitors if you don't turn it off right now. The safety of your business depends on more than just the locks on your front door. It depends on the encryption of your data. We are going to show you how to lock the digital door. The digital door is often left wide open because small shop owners assume they are too small to be a target. This is a dangerous misconception in 2026. As the United States moves toward more stringent data privacy regulations, such as the expansion of the California Consumer Privacy Act and similar statutes in Virginia and Colorado, your shop is legally responsible for the sensitive data you collect. If you are taking a customer's phone number, email, and vehicle identification number, you are a data custodian. If that data is leaked because you used a weak password or left your shop management system logged in on a public computer, the potential outcomes include massive fines and a total loss of community trust. Imagine a shop owner in Austin named Marcus. Marcus used a basic spreadsheet to track his customers for years, but he never realized that his browser was saving every single login and password in plain text. When a technician's personal laptop, which had been used to log into the shop's email, was stolen, Marcus's entire customer database was exposed. Historical trends in cybersecurity show that 60% of small businesses that suffer a major data breach go out of business within 6 months. This is why our top 3 free software choices are selected not just for their features, but for their security architecture. Platforms like Oli and HubSpot utilize enterprise-grade encryption and multi-factor authentication, or MFA. The first step-by-step security protocol you must implement today is enabling MFA on every single piece of software we have discussed. This means that even if a hacker gets your password, they cannot access your shop data without a one-time code sent to your physical device. In the Oli settings menu, navigate to the Security or Account tab and look for the option to enable two-factor authentication. It takes 2 minutes to set up, but it creates a nearly impenetrable barrier against the most common types of digital theft. Another critical vulnerability in the modern shop is the way you handle credit card information. You should never, under any circumstances, write a customer's credit card number on a piece of paper or type it into a notes field in your management software. This is a violation of payment card industry data security standards, known as PCI compliance. If you are found to be storing unencrypted card data, your merchant processor can shut you down overnight. This is why the integration with a tool like HelSim or the built-in payment processors in Oli is so vital. When a customer pays through a secure link, the card data never touches your servers or your computers. It is tokenized and handled by the processor's secure vault. Case studies have shown that shops using integrated, tokenized payments reduce their PCI compliance burden by over 90%, allowing them to focus on repairs rather than complex security audits. Let's look at the imagine if scenario of a data audit. Imagine a state regulator walks into your shop in 2026 and asks to see your data disposal policy. If you have stacks of old repair orders with customer names and addresses sitting in an unlocked bin, you are in trouble. Your digital transition solves this by moving toward a data minimization strategy. You only collect what you need, and you store it in an encrypted cloud environment. When a customer asks to be forgotten, a right granted by many new privacy laws, you can search their name in HubSpot or Oli and delete their record with a single click. Doing this with paper files would take hours of digging through boxes. Furthermore, we need to talk about the browser leak I mentioned. Most modern browsers have a feature called autofill, or save password. While convenient, this is a major security hole in a shared shop environment. If your service writer logs into Parts Tech and saves the password in the browser, anyone who sits at that computer can place orders on your account. The step-by-step fix is to go into your browser settings, under Privacy and Security, and turn off the offer to save passwords and autofill options for your business accounts. Instead, use a dedicated free password manager like Bitwarden. This allows you to share access with your team without ever actually giving them the raw password. When an employee leaves the shop, you simply revoke their access in the password manager, and they can no longer log into your management systems. There is also the matter of digital sovereignty. Who owns your data? In 2026, many free tools are actually data mining operations that sell your shop's performance metrics to parts manufacturers or insurance companies. Our vetted list focuses on platforms that clearly state in their terms of service that you own your data. You must be able to export your customer list, your vehicle histories, and your financial reports at any time. In Oli, for example, there is a data export tool that allows you to download your entire database as a CSV file. Historical data suggests that shops that regularly back up their digital data to an external, offline drive are 80% more likely to recover quickly from a hardware failure or a localized internet outage. Now, consider the physical security of your digital tools. If your technicians are using tablets in the bays, those tablets need to be locked with a PIN or biometric scan. If a customer wanders into the shop while a tech is on lunch and picks up an unlocked tablet, they have access to every RO in your system. This is why we recommend setting a sleep time of no more than 2 minutes on all shop devices. It is a small inconvenience that prevents a massive privacy breach. We have seen case studies where over-the-shoulder data theft has led to identity theft claims against small businesses. By securing the hardware, you are securing the business. But the most advanced security in the world is useless if your staff isn't trained. This is the human element of the digital door. You should conduct a quick 10-minute digital safety meeting once a month. Show your team what a phishing email looks like. Hackers in 2026 are sending very convincing emails that look like they are from Napa or AutoZone, asking you to update your billing information. If your service writer clicks that link and enters your shop's credentials, your accounts can be drained in minutes. Teach your team to always look at the actual email address, not just the name of the sender. This simple education is more effective than the most expensive firewall. The goal of this security deep dive is not to make you paranoid, but to make you professional. A professional shop in the United States protects its customers' privacy with the same intensity that it protects their safety on the road. When you can tell a customer, "We use encrypted PCI-compliant systems to handle your data," you are building a level of trust that the old-school shop down the street simply cannot match. You are signaling that you are a modern, high-integrity business. We have now covered the software, the math, the marketing, the communication, and the security. You have the blueprint for a 5-star digital shop. But there is one final massive hurdle that stops most shop owners from actually succeeding with this transition. It isn't the technology, and it isn't the money. It is the implementation gap. It is the moment between watching this video and actually sitting down to enter your first labor rate. In the next part, we are going to give you a 7-day jumpstart plan. We will break down exactly what to do on day 1, day 2, and all the way to day 7 to ensure you don't get overwhelmed and quit. We are going to show you how to transition your shop while still fixing cars and keeping the lights on. The next 10 minutes are about taking all this high-level strategy and turning it into a concrete day-by-day action plan. If you have ever started a project and left it half-finished, this next section is your cure for procrastination. We are going to build your digital shop together one day at a time. The implementation gap is where most great businesses go to die, buried under the weight of good intentions that were never converted into daily habits. To avoid this, we are breaking down your digital transformation into a 7-day jumpstart plan that fits into the gaps of your already busy schedule. Day 1 is dedicated to the foundational inventory of your data. Imagine a shop owner in Salt Lake City named Brian. Brian has piles of paper invoices from the last 3 years and a messy contact list on his phone. On day 1, Brian does not touch a single piece of new software. Instead, he spends 90 minutes exporting his contacts to a simple spreadsheet and identifying his top 50 most loyal customers. This is your high-value list. These are the people who trust you and will be the first to experience your new digital professionalism. Historical trends show that starting with a small, familiar group of testers reduces the stress of a full-scale rollout and allows you to work out any technical kinks in a low-stakes environment. Day 2 is the day you claim your digital territory. You will spend this hour setting up your core accounts for Oli, HubSpot, and Parts Tech. The step-by-step process is simple. Use a dedicated business email address, not your personal one, and ensure your shop's physical address and phone number are consistent across all 3 platforms. This consistency is vital for local search engine optimization in 2026. Brian in Salt Lake City discovered that his shop was listed with 3 different phone numbers on various web directories. By standardizing his data during the setup phase, he accidentally improved his Google Maps ranking before he even sent his first digital invoice. You are building the digital pipes that your business data will flow through. On day 3, we move into the math of your business. This is the day you input your labor rates and your parts markup matrix into your management software. Use the calculations we discussed in Part 5 to find your true overhead. If your rent has increased or your electricity bill is higher due to the new heat pumps in your shop, this is the moment to adjust your rates to reflect the reality of 2026. Do not look at what the shop down the street is charging. Look at what your business needs to be healthy. Imagine if Brian realized he was losing $4 on every oil change because he hadn't updated his filter pricing in 2 years. Day 3 is about plugging those invisible leaks by setting up automated rules that do the math for you. Day 4 is for technician buy-in. This is arguably the most important day of the week. You cannot force a digital system on a team that hates it. Instead of a top-down mandate, Brian held a 20-minute lunch meeting. He showed his lead tech, Kevin, how the new digital vehicle inspection would allow Kevin to spend less time writing and more time wrenching. He explained that by taking photos, Kevin wouldn't have to explain the same problem 3 times to 3 different people. Day 4 is about setting up the hardware in the bays. If you have an old tablet or even a large-screen smartphone, get it into the hands of your techs. Let them play with the interface. Let them take a photo of a brake rotor and see how it appears on the front office screen instantly. The potential outcome of a successful Day 4 is a team that feels empowered by technology rather than replaced by it. Day 5 is your soft launch. Pick 1 car and 1 loyal customer from your high-value list. Run that entire repair order through your new digital system from start to finish. Scan the VIN, perform the digital inspection, order the parts through Parts Tech, and send the text-to-pay link through HelSim. Observe where the friction points are. Did the technician forget to hit the clock off button? Did the customer have a question about the digital estimate that you didn't anticipate? Case studies from independent shops in the Midwest suggest that this 1 car at a time approach prevents the total shop freeze-up that happens when you try to switch 10 cars over at once. By the end of Day 5, you will have your first digital audit trail and your first paperless payment. Day 6 is for optimization and integration. Now that you have run 1 live job, you will spend Day 6 connecting your tools. This is when you set up the automated thank you emails in HubSpot and the review request triggers. Imagine if every time Brian closes a job in his management software, a personalized message goes out asking the customer for feedback. On Day 6, you are automating the relationship-building side of your business. You are also checking your Parts Tech integrations to ensure all your local suppliers are showing live inventory. This is the day you turn your collection of tools into a unified ecosystem. You are no longer just using software, you are operating a system. Day 7 is the day of total transition. From this morning forward, no paper ROs are allowed on the shop floor. This requires discipline. Brian found that he had to physically hide the old paper pads to keep himself from reverting to his old habits during a busy rush. Day 7 is about commitment. You are now a digital-first shop. This is the day you start collecting the data that will define your shop's growth for the rest of 2026. Historical data indicates that the first 72 hours of a full transition are the hardest, but by the end of the first full week, the efficiency gains become so obvious that no one on the team wants to go back to the old way. To truly master this transition, you must also consider the customer education component. When a longtime customer walks in and sees you with a tablet instead of a clipboard, they might be skeptical. You need a 30-second script to explain the value to them. Brian's script was simple. We've upgraded to a new digital system, so we can show you exactly what we see under the hood. You'll get a full report with photos sent straight to your phone, so you can make an informed decision about your car's safety. This framing shifts the focus from your new technology to their benefit. It builds transparency and reinforces your role as a trusted advisor. As you move through this 7-day plan, keep a friction log. Write down every time a process feels clunky or takes too long. On the following Monday, spend 30 minutes addressing the top 2 items on that log. This is the process of continuous improvement that distinguishes elite shops from the rest. You are not looking for perfection on day 1, you are looking for progress. The cumulative effect of these small digital wins is a shop that is more profitable, more professional, and significantly less stressful to manage. But as you reach the end of your first week as a digital shop, a new question arises. You now have all this data: technician efficiency, parts margins, customer retention rates, and digital inspection approval percentages. How do you actually read it? What do the numbers mean for your next 6 months? Having a dashboard is useless if you don't know which gauges to watch. In the final part of this masterclass, we are going to dive into the CEO dashboard. We will show you the 3 North Star metrics that every small shop owner in America needs to track to ensure long-term stability. We are also going to reveal a final, high-level strategy for using your digital reputation to negotiate better terms with your parts suppliers and insurance companies. You have built the machine. Now we are going to show you how to drive it to the winner's circle. The final piece of the puzzle is about to fall into place. To drive this machine to the winner's circle, you have to transition from being the best mechanic in your town to being the most informed CEO in your zip code. Data without direction is just noise, and in 2026, the noise can be deafening. This is why we focus on the North Star metrics. Imagine a shop owner in Seattle named Sarah. Sarah's shop is always busy, but at the end of every month, her bank account looks surprisingly thin. She implemented Oli and Parts Tech, but she was looking at every single report the software generated, becoming paralyzed by the sheer volume of numbers. To fix this, Sarah narrowed her focus to 3 specific indicators: average repair order, technician proficiency, and the rebooking rate. These are the vital signs of a healthy American repair shop. The first North Star metric is your average repair order, or ARO. In a manual shop, your ARO is often a reflection of what the customer asked for. In a digital data-driven shop using Oli, your ARO is a reflection of what the vehicle actually needs. Historical trends in the U.S. aftermarket suggest that a healthy ARO for a general repair shop in 2026 should be between $450 and $600. If Sarah's ARO was sitting at $300, it meant her team was merely taking orders rather than performing comprehensive digital vehicle inspections. By requiring a DVI on every car, Sarah saw her ARO climb by 35% in just 60 days. This was not because she was overcharging, it was because she was finally identifying and documenting the deferred maintenance that had been ignored for years. The software allowed her to show the customer the leaking strut or the contaminated brake fluid, and the customers responded by saying yes to the work. The second metric is technician proficiency. Note that this is different from efficiency. Efficiency is how fast they do a specific job compared to the book time. Proficiency is how many billable hours they produce in an 8-hour shift. If your lead tech, Kevin, is at the shop for 40 hours a week but only bills 25, your proficiency is 62%. In the competitive landscape of 2026, you should be aiming for 85%. Sarah used the real-time tracking in her free software to find the bottlenecks. She discovered that Kevin was spending 90 minutes a day just moving cars and cleaning up. By hiring a part-time shop hand for $18 an hour to handle those tasks, she freed Kevin up to bill an extra 7 hours a week. At a labor rate of $160, that move added over $1,000 a week in gross profit to the shop. The software gave her the visibility to make that decision based on math, not on a hunch. The third North Star metric is the rebooking rate. This is the ultimate measure of your shop's long-term sustainability. If a customer leaves your shop without their next appointment scheduled, you are essentially hoping they remember you in 6 months. Imagine if Sarah's software showed that only 10% of her customers had a future appointment. By using the automated reminders in HubSpot and the scheduling feature in Oli, she implemented a next visit protocol. Before a customer picks up their keys, the service writer says, "I see your next oil change and safety check is due in September. I've penciled you in for Tuesday the 15th at 9 a.m. Does that work for you?" Because the software sends a text confirmation and a reminder, The show-up rate for these appointments is remarkably high. Case studies of shops using this proactive scheduling have seen their customer lifetime value double over a 3-year period. Now, let's talk about the high-level strategy of using your digital reputation as a negotiation tool. In 2026, your shop's data is an asset that you can use to lower your costs. Imagine Sarah sitting down with her representative from a major parts distributor like Napa or Worldpac. Instead of just asking for a better price, she pulls up her parts tech report. She can show them exactly how much she spent with them over the last 12 months, her return rate, and her average order size. More importantly, she can show them her 5-star Google rating and her digital growth trends. When you can prove with data that you are a high-volume, high-efficiency, and high-integrity partner, you have the leverage to negotiate better Level 2 or Level 3 pricing tiers. You are no longer just another account number. You are a strategic partner in their supply chain. This logic extends to your insurance premiums as well. When your garage keeper's liability policy comes up for renewal, you can present your digital audit trails and your mandatory 360-degree vehicle walk-around photos as evidence of your risk management. Historical data from the insurance industry shows that shops with documented, digital safety protocols are often eligible for best-in-class premium discounts. You are showing the insurance company that you have a legal shield built into your daily operations. This can save a small shop thousands of dollars in annual fixed costs, directly impacting the bottom line. However, the most profound outcome of this entire masterclass is the shift in your quality of life. The shop owner trap is the feeling that if you aren't physically standing in the building, the business will collapse. By building this digital ecosystem, you are creating a business that is decoupled from your constant physical presence. Sarah in Seattle eventually reached a point where she could monitor her shop's performance from her laptop while on a 1-week vacation in the San Juan Islands. She could see the ROs being opened, the parts being ordered through Parts Tech, and the payments hitting her bank account via HealthSim. She wasn't just a mechanic anymore. She was a business owner with a scalable, predictable asset. This level of freedom is the ultimate goal. The free software we have discussed, Oli, HubSpot, Parts Tech, and HealthSim, are the tools that make this possible for the small independent shop. You are no longer at the mercy of the big franchises because you have the same, if not better, technology than they do. You have the local trust, the technical expertise, and now the digital infrastructure to win in the 2026 economy. But as you master these 3 free tools, you will eventually hit a ceiling. You will reach a point where your volume is so high and your team is so large that you might actually want to look at the pro versions of these tools, or even specialized AI diagnostic integrations that can predict part failures before the car even enters the bay. The world of automotive technology is moving at a breakneck pace. From electric vehicle thermal management systems to autonomous sensor calibrations, the repairs are getting harder, but the rewards for those who can document and manage the process are getting larger. This concludes our 10-part deep dive masterclass on the top 3 free auto repair software for small shops in the USA. You have the disclaimer, the hook, the management tools, the parts logic, the marketing automation, the legal protection, the communication loops, the security protocols, and the 7-day implementation plan. The only thing left to do is to take that first step on day 1. Open that spreadsheet, export those contacts, and start building the shop you deserve. The future of the American independent repair shop is digital, and that future starts right now with the data you already have in your hands. If you found this masterclass valuable, there is one more critical area of the 2026 shop that we haven't touched on: the transition to electric vehicle service. As the car park in the US shifts, your software needs to track specialized EV safety certifications and high-voltage tooling. We are preparing a follow-up series specifically on how to build an EV-ready shop on a budget, where we will look at the free training resources provided by manufacturers and how to update your digital ROs for battery health reports. You have the foundation. Now it is time to look at the horizon. Keep the wrenches turning and the data flowing. Your shop is ready for what comes next.